So, as many of you will know, there was news spread around Leamington a few weeks ago that Stone the Crows was going to be closing in Leamington. And it was greeted with genuine shock and some sadness. Crows leaving Leamington is a bit like ravens leaving the Tower of London. It won't be quite the same after that. And so I'm very, very fortunate to be able to have tracked down John Allan, the owner of Stone the Crows, and we're sat now in the Leamington shop. And while we still can, I'm going to get a little bit of the background story from John as to how it all happened and what the shop's been about, and to share some of his experiences and recollections of those many years. And hopefully we'll find out how many years those are in a little bit. So John, welcome to Life in Lem.
Thank you very much.
So as I say, it was with genuine shock and sadness the news was greeted by people in Leamington. I guess the first and obvious question is, why is this chapter coming to an end now?
Mainly because it's the end of our lease at the end of July, at the end of June. We've had 2 leases on this shop, so in total I think we've been here, we're not absolutely sure, but I think we've been here for around between 25 and 30 years. But it is the end of the lease, and our wholesale company is not going to be carrying on, and so we don't have the logistics to be able to deliver down here and make the local deliveries of furniture, etc.
Right, and so you do have other shops around the country. What will happen to those?
Well, there's 2 other shops. We've got one in Dromfield, which is just outside Sheffield. That's a very big shop. It's 20,000 square feet. That will continue. And then we've got another shop down near Braintree, a place called High Garrett. That will be closing a week before this shop closes, because again that's the end of the lease, and it's just the logistics of delivering right down to Braintree from Dromfield. Right.
So if anyone wants to continue their Stone the Crows shopping experience, then it's Dromfield is the place they need to go.
And we get people, I think it's a bit more than 50 miles, but we get lots of people from all over to the Dromfield shop. It takes about an hour and a half from Leamington.
Okay, so it's a day trip. Yes, if you want
to. Rather.
Right. So take us back to the beginning. How did Stone the Crows get started?
Well, it was firstly we started as wholesalers, so we imported and designed product mainly in Italy when we first started, and then after a while we started travelling in the Far East, so China, Thailand, Philippines, Korea, Vietnam, all those type of countries, Taiwan, and started to import from there and then wholesale that to small independent shops in the UK. And then after about 5 years, we opened our first shop, which was in Solihull. And we still got Millie Cooper here working in the Leamington shop, who opened the first shop with me in Solihull, that was 35 years ago. And we opened shops mainly, this sounds a bit arrogant, but it was mainly to see what other importers and wholesalers were bringing on the market. We used to buy off a lot of other UK wholesalers, so it gave me a good feel of what the competition was, and so that I could keep off their type of product, so that we tried to keep more unique and eclectic.
So I hadn't realised before we'd spoken today, but quite a proportion of the stock you've had here, that's been unique to Stone the Crows and stuff that you've designed and imported.
Yeah, about 35%, I would say, on average.
And how did you decide what was going to be stocked? Because it's always been a fascinating combination of, some homewares, some furniture, leatherwares, the party shop upstairs.
The party shop, that was quite unique to Leamington. We had little departments in our other shops, but Millie made a great success of it here. The 2 weeks before Halloween, we did incredible figures out of the shop, and it was, as you say, it was all done from upstairs. But it's really, there's no science. I'm afraid I went to art college, and maybe I had an eye for product, and I've always tended to buy things that were unique and interesting and novel, and it was based on that.
And the name Stone the Crows, how did that come about?
Well, when we first started as wholesalers, we traded under the company name, which is ATN Marketing Limited. But then when we opened our first shop in Solihull, we had to think of a more commercial name than that, and a name that people would remember. So we sort of went amongst all our staff and asked them to think up 10 names. And without being rude, most of them were horrendous. And then my wife thought of it. We were driving down to London at that time, and she thought of the name Stone the Crows. And it's a sort of term of amazement. And so, you know, it stuck, and we've always called all our shops Stone the Crows.
And it is. I mean, when you walk through the doors here, it always has been, you know, a surprise. When I think of the things I've bought here over the years, it's been furniture, it's been art, a teddy bear, sculpture, and I can't think of how many wigs, capes and false sets of teeth for parties over the years. So it has always been a remarkable and an eclectic mix of stuff you had here. When you look back on those years, are there particular things you look at and go, actually, those are really good times, those are things that I really enjoyed about running this business?
Well, I think retail was very strong in the 80s and 90s and right up to maybe 2008, to the financial crisis. And there were wonderful shops all over the country. I mean, London had a lot of lovely department stores with their own buying teams. But now if you go around London, they're all concessions in their department stores. So there's no unique flavour to shops anymore. But, you know, I think they were the halcyon days. I went this morning to a hospital in Warwick, where a great friend of mine, Peter Sturts, and he used to own Casafina, and there was a Casafina shop in Leamington, and he had 6-7 other shops, and we were going. He's 92 now, and we were reminiscing on the old days when we used to go to Italy together, and go round the factories and find product, and so they were unique days, and unfortunately, with online and everything else, there isn't that creativity in the marketplace anymore, you know, which is rather sad.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it was a terrific adventure, really, going out.
It was very much so. Yeah,
finding products that you go, actually, I think that would go well. Let's bring some.
Yeah, a lot of things didn't go well as well. but if you buy first and sell second, you'll always have that. Yeah.
Are there any items over the years that have either sold really well when you weren't expecting them to, or conversely you were expecting they were going to be rock solid products and they never really took off?
I think things like the dancing Coke can, and then there was Billy Bass, which is a fish on the wall that, when that was brought out, I went straight into it, worrying as to whether it would sell or not, and it did straight away. And lava lamps, you know, about 25 years ago, there was a great fashion for lava lamps. So in all our shops to start with, we used to have a young department upstairs, and on the ground floor was home accessories and home decoration. We're much more home decoration orientated now. But mainly because the market for finding novelty stock for the upstairs young department has really dried up. A lot of those ideas came from American wholesalers, and they seem to have sort of retrenched themselves.
You mentioned online, John. Is online something that you offer as well, or is it purely in store?
We have, for our shops, we have a website just to promote the shops, really. But it's very difficult as a wholesaler to develop an online presence, because if you're selling to sort of 1,000, 1,500 other independent retailers, you don't want to compete with them by being online. And so we've always been very careful not to do that.
So, John, having run the Stone the Crows business for many years, you're clearly going to have the shop in Johnfield still, but is that going to fill all of your time? What do you think you can do with yourself?
I don't know. I'm very, very much a product person. I get very excited in designing and developing product, and even buying finished product if it's very good. So I'm hoping that I will still do something.
There are so many people around town and beyond who've got items in their homes from Stone the Crows they've acquired over the years. Have you got anything you'd like to say to the good folk of Leamington?
Well, thank you very much for your loyalty over the years. We've always done very well in Leamington. The days of when we did Halloween upstairs were incredible, the 2 weeks before Halloween. And also Christmas in the shop has always been very exciting. But they've been very loyal, our customers in Leamington. We used to have a shop in Bath, and I would draw a comparison with Bath as well. Those two towns seem to attract a certain type of customer that really enjoyed Stone the Crows. And I'd like to thank everybody for, supporting us here.
Thank you, John. And Stone the Crows has absolutely been a central feature in the town for many, many years. I think of it very much as a special and quite a magical place really to come into. And like a lot of people that have acquired things from here, every time I look at that teddy or look at that picture or put on that cape, I'll think a little bit of Stone the Crows and yourself and Millie and the great team here. Thank you so much for being a big part of Leamington for so long.
Okay. Well, thank you.